After the Steven Universe movie, it's pretty safe to say that a lot of people have had it with Pink Diamond, and they've had it with Rose Quartz. I think we can all agree that what Pink did to Spinel was awful, and it just breaks my heart thinking that throughout the entire series we've had so far, no matter what's happening on screen, Spinel is still standing there in the garden, waiting for Pink to come back after thousands of years. But is the movie really what we should be basing our final opinions of Rose on? The movie may be the last thing we learned about her, but chronologically, it's one of the first things we know happened involving her. Consider the way we learned about Rose. First, we hear about how she was when she was living on Earth with Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl, protecting humanity from roaming monsters. She was great, kind, wonderful. Then we learn about the rebellion she led, and we add courageous and inspiring, and that she was fighting to protect a planet full of innocent life. That's all we knew about Rose for the longest time. It wasn't until quite late that the series confirmed she had been Pink Diamond, and while it allowed some doubt to creep in about her motives, Pearl was very clear that Pink had been genuinely fighting for a cause during the rebellion, not goofing off. Even still, the characters start to shun her. Rather than hanging her portrait on the wall like a venerated leader, the idea of having roses at Garnet's wedding is controversial. When we finally get to Homeworld and see how trivial and silly she was back then, that was all a lot of fans needed to agree with Steven's initial assessment in Now We're Only Falling Apart, that the rebellion was just some game to her. Consider the order things actually happened in, though. First, Pink lived on Homeworld, being a trivial and silly diamond, and only occasionally being locked in a tower until she cried. Sometime after her pearl was taken away from her as punishment, she was still a petulant child and demanded a colony from Yellow. She tried to model her behavior after Blue and Yellow, trying to prove that she was just as important as them, and so was deserving of her own colony. It was at this point that she abandoned Spinel, before she had ever set foot on Earth. Once she did, though, she started to turn into the Rose Quartz we were told about at the start of the series. She saw the life on Earth, and realized what would be lost if the colony was completed. When Blue and Yellow wouldn't let her stop construction of the colony, she and Pearl staged the beginnings of the rebellion. And when Blue came to take care of that little disobedience, Garnet was created. Suddenly, the rebellion was about more than just the Earth. It was about the freedom of gems to be who they want to be. Garnet inspired Rose, and Rose in turn inspired Bismuth and all of the other crystal gems to be themselves rather than what Homeworld told them they had to be. By the time she faked her own shattering, Pink had transformed from a spoiled brat into an inspirational leader, at least as best as she was able to as a gem. For the longest time, it was this version of Rose that we knew, with just an air of darkness building up around her to make us think that maybe Rose really did shatter Pink Diamond. It's only very recently in the show that we've learned much of anything about Pink Diamond, and since it's what we've learned most recently, we've amended our collective picture of Rose to include it as the most up-to-date information. It's like we have this mental image of Rose's character development happening in reverse, starting as a kind leader and changing into a rotten child. That's not how it happened, though. The events on Earth changed Pink for the better, and we should remember Rose as the gem she came to be, rather than the diamond she once was.